Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining me today, everybody, for another Tuesday discussion. So, here on Tuesdays, we do like to answer comments and questions that we're getting on Patreon, Instagram, and YouTube via these video discussions. And they're discussions because I really want you to come back and answer this question yourself in the comments. Now, today's question is Jeff, what are your favorite whiskeys of all time? That is a hefty question. I do get that question quite often. I have some stock answers, but man, talk about telling me to pick my favorite child. Like, cheesy Pete, that ain't going to happen. So I'm at least going to pick six of them today. I was supposed to pick five, but once again, it's really hard to call that list down. But at least I got it to six. And the other criteria I did put on this list is it had to be on the bar and open today as well. So thank you for joining me today, whiskey friends. Let's kick off the show. All right. So as I said, everything that we're going through today has to be on my shelf today and open. So these are my five favorite whiskeys on the bar today. Now, in terms of our scoring system, if you've seen our reviews, we do score all of these whiskeys for relative purposes. Everything that I'm showing you would score between a 92 to a 96 on the bar. So finding very little faults when it comes to all the metrics that we measure when it comes to these bottles, essentially giving it to tens to a whole lot of metrics. If not tens, definitely nines when it comes to the experience scores and all the flavors. Heck, even the value once you're going that high. Though a lot of these bottles are very high priced, even when I bought them, of course, even higher priced now because some of them have been out for quite a few years and the secondary prices are just going to be even higher. Now, while we're chatting, I am going to enjoy a sip of one of the bottles on the list. And I haven't had this one in a while, so I am excited to take the sip with you. I'm actually smiling in anticipation of taking the sip, and I'm sure I'll be smiling after I take it as well. So cheers, everybody. Oh, man. One of the things that comes about with a lot of these on the list, a lot of them are older ages. We're talking 12, 13, 15 plus years old. But it's not just the oak that stands out, such on the sip that I just had, which I will reveal the bottle of here in just a few moments. But with this, it also comes with that age has to come with this like rounded profile. It has to give the fruits, it has to give other dessert flavors. I mean, it's more that balance that comes into play that complements the oak rather than that oak being the dominant flavor. If it's the dominant flavor, I might as well be having like Rhetoric 23 or something, or Pappy 23, since that's actually the same thing. So, what I'm going to show first here, this is the bonus bottle. And this is the Bardstown Discovery Series number 3. And the reason I love this one so much is that it's combining great whiskeys from 3 of my favorite distilleries. Now, you can go up, you can look up the mash bills, you can look up what's in here, but oh my gosh, just listen to some of the stats here. I'll go through them quickly for today's video. 45% 13-year Indiana bourbon, 32% 13-year Kentucky bourbon, and 23% 10-year Kentucky bourbon in this blend. One of my favorite blends of all time, and one of the reasons I fell in love with Bardstown Bourbon Company in the first place. All really started with this Discovery 3 for me, and it still holds a very special place in my heart. Next on the list, I'm going to highlight Master Keep Series, the Wild Turkey Revival. So this is the one that was finished in sherry casks. So of course I adore sherry. If you've seen my reviews before, I am a real sucker for anything that's sherry finished. And in terms of the ages, 12 to 15 years were the ages inside this blend. and then it came out to a 101 proof. So, one of my favorites, and definitely my favorite, Master Keep, is going to be the Revival. The next one, and we're going to go with the finished whiskey as well. This one might be a surprise, but man, does it hold a place in my heart. And it is the Forgate Kelvin Collaboration Series Batch 1. So this came out in 2020. This was the first of the Kelvin Collaboration Series and the first release from Forgate. If I'm remembering correctly, I believe the bourbon in here is 13 years old, and it was finished in, surprise, surprise, sherry and then dash rum casks. Now, if you see that on the label where it says sherry dash rum, that means it was a cask that once held sherry and once held rum. It had both of them in there at one point in time in that cask life. But this is one of my favorite finished whiskeys of all time. And I also know a bar by me that for some reason is selling glasses of this for $15. So I keep going back there until that bottle is done. So I don't have to drink my own. I can save what I have left and just drink theirs. The next on the list here is actually the one in the glass. And this is the Four Roses limited edition, but specifically from 2019. I have gotten to have some samples of other limited editions. Man, they are all amazing. But this 2019 one always hit me in all the right spots, particularly with that deep velvety oak. Ah, and then on the finish, it rounds out with all of these vanillas, custards, fruits. So it has that brightness to balance all that dark oak. And once again, we are talking about a blend that has some very old casks in it. There's a theme going on here, and it's a lot of double digit bourbons. Next one on my list, I never expect to get another bottle of this. I'm lucky to have one in the first place. Just got very, very lucky one night to get this for essentially MSRP, which at the time was around $100, which is ridiculous to say. But it's the William LaRoe Weller. I think this is my favorite bottle of Buffalo Trace that I have on the shelf. I have shared the heck out of this one this year. I think it was like somewhere around here when I started the year, and I just kind of decided, you know what? I've had this thing since 2019. It is time to pass the love, and I've been given samples of this. Also had it in our 1 year celebration when we did a live stream celebrating 1 year for the channel. I had to give this to Kelsey and Darrell, and a few patrons got to try this too. But all the hype is real about this one. Regardless of that hype, I will never pay anywhere near it. I have to win the lottery to ever get my hands on one of these again. I'll only do it at MSRP. So then that leads me to the final bottle on the list, which is my favorite whiskey on the bar today, and definitely one of my all-time favorite pours. And it is the original Bardstown Chateau de Labade. So this one here is, oh, let me make sure I got it right, a 12-year Indiana bourbon. So there's a lot of MGP on this list. That was finished in Armagnac casks. And it is utterly delightful. We actually opened this one. I had a backup, got lucky and found a backup locally in a good trade. And for this one, we opened it up on the recent trip to Kentucky. So once again, it could be shared. So, all of this has been drank. Wasn't by me, unfortunately. It was with everybody else. But everyone got to appreciate it, and quite a few people have gotten to drink this bottle that didn't have a chance to try it when it came out in 2020. But it has really cemented itself as one of my favorite whiskeys of all time, and is absolutely my favorite one on the bar. That's why it's always sitting back here in the videos, front and center, though obviously my head blocks it most of the time. So that is my list for my 5 favorite whiskeys on the bar today. I know all of those are very expensive pours, each of those ranging between $100 to $200 retail when I bought them. And once again, each of those, when it comes to our scoring system, is going to be somewhere between a 92, 93, all the way up to a 96. So, really getting high scores on every conceivable metric I can put at it. Uh, Maybe just losing a point or two for value, just because of the fact that a lot of those do cost $200 retail. The other thing I did notice, we talked about the fact that a lot of these had double digit casks. When I put a list like this together, I do like to look at the commonalities, and there are quite a few finished whiskeys on there. You got the Bardstown that I just put back behind me, finished in Armagnac. Got the Master's Keep Revival, finished in sherry, and then the Forgate, finished in sherry rum casks. Not too surprising. Once again, I do love Finnish whiskeys. And the other thing to stick out is the fact that, a couple of these were Indiana MGP as well. I am consistent, if nothing else. But that answers the question, what are my favorite pours on the bar today? Come back in the comments. Let me know what is your favorite whiskey on your bar today. And if you want to get into it, maybe you don't have it anymore. What is your favorite whiskey of all time? Curious to know, and curious to know why. So thank you for joining me today, whiskey friends. I'll catch you on the next Tuesday discussion. Goodbye, everybody.
Jeff, just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these